At just 13 years old, she stepped onto a small stage in Manila with shaking hands and a heart full of fear, and within minutes, her voice would travel across oceans, break through screens, and leave millions of people around the world in tears. This is not just a singing story, this is a story about pain, hope, and a moment that changed a life forever. Before the song begins, make sure you subscribe to this channel, because stories like this remind us why music still has the power to heal the world. In a crowded neighborhood of Manila, where narrow streets echo with the sounds of traffic, street vendors, and everyday struggle, there lived a 13-year-old girl named Althea. Her home was small, her family had little, and life had never been easy. But hidden behind her shy smile was a voice so powerful that even she did not fully understand it yet. Singing was not something she learned in a school or a studio. It was something she discovered late at night, humming softly so she would not wake her siblings, singing quietly while doing chores, and whispering melodies into the humid Manila air when no one else was listening. Althea's father had once dreamed of becoming a musician himself, but reality forced him to work long hours as a jeepney driver. Some days he would come home exhausted, hands rough from the steering wheel, pockets almost empty. Her mother worked cleaning houses, leaving early in the morning and returning late at night. Life was about survival, not dreams. And yet, every time Althea sang, something changed in that tiny house. The noise of the outside world faded, and for a few minutes, hope filled the room. At school, Althea was quiet. She rarely raised her hand and avoided attention. Classmates knew her as the girl who kept to herself. But during school programs or small events, when she was asked to sing, people noticed something different. Her voice carried emotion far beyond her years. Teachers would stop walking. Students would fall silent. Some felt chills, others felt tears forming without knowing why. Still, Althea did not believe she was special. To her, singing was just a way to release feelings she could not put into words. One evening, while scrolling through an old phone, Althea came across a video of a young singer performing on a global stage. She watched judges cry, audiences stand, and comments from people all over the world praising the singer. That night, she told her parents she wanted to audition for a national talent competition. Her parents looked at each other in silence. They worried about money, travel, and disappointment. But they also saw something in their daughter's eyes they had never seen before. Determination. Preparing for the audition was not easy. There were no vocal coaches, no fancy equipment, no studio sessions. Althea practiced in the early mornings and late nights. She sang while washing dishes. She sang while walking to school. She sang when the electricity went out and the house was lit only by candles. Her voice grew stronger, but so did her fear. What if she failed? What if people laughed? What if this dream only brought more pain? The day of the audition arrived, and Manila buzzed with excitement. Hundreds of hopeful singers lined up, each carrying their own story and dream. Althea stood in line holding a folded piece of paper with song lyrics written by hand. Her hands were cold, her heart raced, and her stomach twisted with nerves. When her number was called, she took a deep breath and stepped into the audition room. The judges looked tired. They had heard countless voices already that day. Some were good, some were forgettable. Althea introduced herself softly, almost whispering. When asked why she chose to sing, she paused, then said she wanted to sing for her family, and for people who feel invisible. The room grew quiet. Then the music started. From the very first note, something shifted. Her voice was not loud, but it was honest. It carried pain, longing, and innocence all at once. Each lyric felt like a confession, each note like a memory. The judges stopped writing. One leaned forward. Another closed their eyes. Althea sang about loss, about holding on, about believing that tomorrow could be better than today. Halfway through the song, tears began to fall, not just from the judges, but from crew members standing behind the cameras. When the final note faded, the room remained silent for a few seconds. No one moved. No one spoke. Then one judge stood up slowly, clapping with tears in their eyes. Another followed. Althea did not understand what was happening. She thought she had made a mistake. But then she saw the smiles, the applause, and the nods of approval. She had made it through. The video of her audition was uploaded online days later. At first, only a few people watched. Then hundreds. Then thousands. Within a week, millions. Comments poured in from the United States, Canada, Europe, and beyond. People wrote that her voice reminded them of loved ones they had lost. Some said they cried alone at night listening to her sing. Others said her song gave them strength during the hardest moments of their lives. A 13-year-old girl from Manila had reached the world. As the competition continued, the pressure grew heavier. Fame arrived quickly and unexpectedly. Interviews, rehearsals, expectations. Althea began to doubt herself again. She overheard people saying she was too young, too fragile, too emotional. One night before a major performance, she broke down crying, telling her mother she could not do it anymore. Her mother held her and reminded her why she started. Not to be famous, not to win, but to share her voice with honesty. For the live performance that would later be remembered around the world, Althea chose a song that was deeply personal. It reminded her of her father's sacrifices and her mother's strength. As she walked onto the stage, lights blinding her eyes, the audience buzzing, she felt smaller than ever. But when the music began, fear melted away. Her voice filled the theater, stronger than before, deeper, more controlled, yet still raw. Every word landed with impact. Cameras caught audience members wiping their eyes. Judges struggled to speak. When she reached the final chorus, her voice cracked slightly, not from weakness but from emotion. That crack made the moment real. Human. Unforgettable. When the song ended, the audience rose to their feet. The applause seemed endless. One judge admitted they had not cried like that in years. Another said they forgot they were judging a competition and felt like they were listening to a story of life itself. That performance was shared across social media, played on television screens, and talked about in living rooms around the world. But the biggest twist came later. Despite the global praise, Althea did not win the competition. Many were shocked. Some were angry. Others were confused. But Althea surprised everyone with her reaction. She smiled, hugged the winner, and thanked the judges. In interviews, she said she had already won something greater than a trophy. She had been heard. After the show, opportunities came from everywhere. Music producers reached out. Charities asked her to sing at events. She was invited to perform for communities affected by disasters, for children in hospitals, and for audiences who needed hope. Through it all, she remained grounded, returning home to Manila whenever possible, sitting on the same floor where she once practiced quietly. Years later, people would still talk about that one song, the song that made the world cry, the voice that reminded people of humanity. Althea's story became proof that greatness does not require wealth, fame, or perfection. Sometimes, it only takes truth, courage, and a voice willing to be heard. And as her journey continues, her message remains the same. No matter where you come from, no matter how small you feel, your voice matters. Someone out there needs to hear it.